Well, hello everybody. So I was working on my Muslim Brotherhood video, and I started working on Muslim Brotherhood Part 2. And I like not forgot, but the Maxime Bernier announcement really got me excited, and I just kind of like stopped thinking about the Conservative Convention, which is hilarious because I mean, I want to give Andrew a fair shake, but even after this speech, I'm not concerned. I'm quite excited now for Max's party, but holy crap, if this was all that was on offer, I would be upset. I would be really upset. And if I was really thinking of going out to the convention, and I'm glad that I didn't watching this shit show, but there are people who traveled a long way and they wanted to vote on supply management. Supply management was set to be debated about being kept in the Conservative Party manual, right? Like it was up for debate, right? And they silenced the debate. But that's another video, or maybe you've already seen it. But yeah, they're certainly silencing things. But so Andrew Scheer, I liked Andrew Scheer. I really did. I thought that he was a pretty moderate kind of Stephen Harper's ghost. Not really Stephen Harper's ghost, but I thought, yeah, okay, he can make a Justin Trudeau look kind of silly on a debate stage, but I mean, anybody could do that at this point in time. And not that he sticks to his guns, but he can communicate fairly clearly about things. And I watched him in the House of Commons. I like to watch Question Period. And, you know, the questions that he asked were framed in ways that I agreed with. So I didn't really mind him. And people criticized him for not being well known. People don't know who he is. And I agree with that. His face isn't, he's not a charismatic leader in the way Trump is, or in the way Trudeau is, or in the way, well, Trudeau is. I don't think that Trudeau's a charismatic leader for anybody who thinks that he is a charismatic leader, or thinks that I'm saying he's a charismatic leader. He, excuse me, he interviews well, but he doesn't have a lot of substance. He's not, so for people who are very surface, who have like one layer of politics to talk about, then he's very good, right? He's like, oh, I'm going to reduce the taxes. And people are like, yeah, he's going to reduce the tax, but he doesn't reduce the taxes. And so, but he still rides on the hair and the socks, right? Because the news gives him a pass and whatever. So anyway, I'm not trying to make this about Trudeau. I'm just trying to be clear. I thought that Scheer could maybe hold him to task, and in an election, especially when the choice is between Scheer or Trudeau, I think Scheer wins. But then the election started to heat up, and it started to get closer, and here we are at the Conservative Convention, and Scheer's got an hour-long speech here, and none of it got me excited at all. None of it. None of it. None of it. So the first 10 minutes, well, you know what, like the first 20 minutes, he's telling stories about what Justin Trudeau has done to Canada. So I'm going to show you kind of an example of the stories that he's telling, but all of these are different stories about different people around Canada, meant to illustrate, like, you know, how Conservatives can win without compromising, because they're not compromising, I guess, based on these stories, and how they're going to help Canadians. But he doesn't offer specifics. Like the first 20 minutes of the speech, he doesn't offer any policy guidelines. He's not saying, we're going to do this differently, we're going to do this. He just talks about how bad Trudeau is. So, I mean, it's kind of, yay, I guess, but it's not really, man, like if there's a lot to hit Trudeau on, and there's a lot to say, we're going to do this, like very clearly, Trudeau did this, we're going to do this to combat it and fix the problem. Like, we don't need these flowery words, man. We need somebody who's going to say, this is the problem, this is how I'm going to solve it. Not, you know, there's a grandma down in blah, blah, blah. I don't give a shit. I don't care. Fix the problem. We all know what the issue is. Fix it. Okay, so anyway, here's the story he wants to tell. So, carbon tax.
They wouldn't want to do anything else. Their number one input cost is fuel, and they are absolutely terrified about what carbon tax will do to their lives. It's about the dozens of workers at a plastics plant I visited in Markham, Ontario, who've already had to cut their work week down to 5 shifts a week, from 5 shifts a week down to 4, because it was getting too expensive to have the plant run every day. And the owner told me that the plant in Markham does everything that could be done just south of the border. He could move it across the border at less cost and greater profit. Now, he doesn't want to do that. He loves Canada. He loves his workers. But with rising costs, he doesn't know how much longer he can hold out. You know, I was in New Brunswick a few weeks ago, visiting the Moncton Farmers Market. I was making my way through the booths, and I saw this woman who was selling soaps, all natural, organic soaps. And she extended her hand to me as I was walking by with a troubled look in her face. And she came up to me and she put her hand out. I shook her hand and she looked at me and she said, I'm so sorry. I'm so, so sorry. I was a little bit taken aback. I have had many conversations with Jill where I start off that way. So it's kind of odd to be on the receiving end. She kept apologizing. She kept looking at me saying, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I thought, what on earth could this woman have possibly done? So she looked at me straight in the eye, and she just said, I am so sorry. I voted Liberal in the last election.
It was a long walk, wasn't it? It was a long walk. It was like a minute long. Okay, so, yeah, sure, great. So we all know Justin Trudeau's made bad choices. We all know he's instituted taxes. He said that he would, and we knew that he would, and it's bad. You all said it was going to be bad. I know. Voting for Justin Trudeau was a very, very big mistake for Canada, and Stephen Harper would have been a much better steward over the last few years. I agree. However, here we are, and the policies that he's presenting are I don't know, not so great. So we're 20 minutes into the speech, 17 minutes, 40 seconds, and he hasn't really talked about anything policy related yet. He said that he knows how to fix things. He's going to be the one to fix things, but he doesn't talk about the policy stuff. And he hasn't talked about Max yet either. And he doesn't talk about Max, so spoiler alert. So anyway, he gives a shout out here to the removal of John A.'s statue, and he almost lost me here. I was like, dude, this isn't how you beat Justin Trudeau. Like, oh, let's play their game and then lose, like do it badly. Like, whatever. Anyway, he almost lost me here, but then he kind of recovered. But he's still not talking about policy. He's still just telling stories.
And I think it is a disgrace that some would allow extreme voices in this country to erase our proud heritage. But it's not just our heritage as Conservatives, it's our heritage as Canadians. Because if we allow this to continue, if we're suddenly going to sanitize our history, with the benefit of hindsight and knowing what we know today, then what if those extreme voices kept going? You know, the Liberal Party of Canada's elite donor program is called the Laurier Club. Now, Sir Wilfrid Laurier, Liberal Prime Minister, signed an order in Council in 1911 banning black immigrants to Canada. But he was also the architect of the Canadian Navy and a pioneer of free trade with the United States. Do we hear voices from the left saying that we better take his name off of everything and rename universities? William Lyon Mackenzie King, another Liberal Prime Minister, the man who navigated Canada through the Great Depression and led the country during World War II, closed Canada's doors to Jewish refugees fleeing Nazi Germany. And his own government at the time said, none is too many. Will the Liberals work to take his face off the $50 bill? No. But you can see how divisive this approach is, how destructive this is to our Canadian identity. We can, and we should, celebrate the giants of our history, like Macdonald, Laurier, and King, for the great things they did for our country.
So he kind of got me back there, but at the same time, playing the game, you lose the game. Don't play their game. Take the high road. You talk about how silly it is. You don't start saying, see, their guys did bad things too. Really, come on. So here he starts talking about Trudeau's trade war with Donald Trump, which we lose every single time. The states dwarfs us. They're 10 times our size. We lose it. We lose that war. Trump laughs at us, moves all auto manufacturing and everything else to the northern states and locks them all up for a generation, period. And we lose out. Canada loses out. This is just a silly, silly policy.
Canada's international trading prospects have never looked more grim. And that is a huge problem when 1 in 5 Canadian jobs rely on free trade. Now, it's true. The President of the United States is anti-free trade. And Donald Trump...
That is a lie. I'm almost tempted to go and grab the presser, the G7, post-G7 presser, where Trump says very clearly, I have offered 100% free trade. I'm going to get it right now. Okay, so Andrew Scheer just said that Trump is anti-free trade. Here's General Trump. Here is, yes, sir, Commander-in-Chief, President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. Are you anti-free trade, sir?
Okay, question, yes.
Sorry. Oh, for crying out loud. Sorry about that. I had it at I had the speed too fast, and I wanted to change the speed, and then I changed the time. Here he is.
Should be. No tariffs, no barriers. That's the way it should be. And no subsidies. I even said no tariffs. In other words, let's say Canada, where we have tremendous tariffs. The United States pays tremendous tariffs on dairy, as an example, 270%. Nobody knows that. We pay nothing. We don't want to pay anything. Why should we pay? We have to, ultimately, that's what you want. You want a tariff-free, you want no barriers, and you want no subsidies, because you have some cases where countries are subsidizing industries, and that's not fair. So you go tariff-free, you go barrier-free, you go subsidy-free. That's the way you learned at the Wharton School of Finance. I mean, that would be the ultimate thing. Now, whether or not that works, but I did suggest it, and people were, I guess they're going to go back to the drawing board and check it out, right? But we can't have an example where we're paying, the United States is paying 270%. Just can't have it. And when they send things into us, you don't have that. I will say it was not contentious. What was strong...
Contentious, sir, maybe it wasn't contentious on your side, and we appreciate your willingness to negotiate in good faith with Canada, because clearly the Canadian government is not negotiating in good faith with you. So that is Andrew Scheer lying. Sorry, sir, you are outright lying about Donald Trump's position. Put dairy on the table. Put Canada first. Anyway, I'm going to back up so you can watch him lie just one more time.
The President of the United States is anti-free trade. And Donald Trump has been crystal clear all along that he's out to cause us pain and to steal our jobs. But
I could show another clip that directly and from the same presser, and I'm not going to this time, but you are a liar, sir.
Standing up to Donald Trump starts by making sure that Canada is strong. We need to stop pumping cheap fuel into the American economy. We need to get our resources to new markets. We need to compete with other countries on taxation and regulation instead of rolling over.
Boo. Boo. So, not only is Andrew Scheer apparently allowing Justin Trudeau to define the conversation, he's lying about President Trump's position on the floor at the Conservative Party convention. So that's going to end my video. Mr. Scheer, you've lost my support and my trust. You are a liar, and it looks to be a globalist. So you, sir, can ride out on the horse you rode in on. Have a great Saturday, everyone. I'm looking forward to Maxime Bernier roasting you.